Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. I'm Doug Brunke, founder and CEO of Global Chamber. We did a pre-show, if you will, yesterday on Clubhouse with Amanda Davis, and now we're getting into the deep dive. Amanda Davis is the founder and chief idea officer at Hudson Davis Communications. She's based in Southern California. She's a marketing expert. She has her own company. In fact, it's brand new, but she's been in marketing for many years, and she is an expert on a variety of different aspects of marketing, including pulling it all together. And for many of us with international business, LinkedIn is a key aspect of that. Certainly, those of us here at Global Chamber, we use it every single day. We verify not only members, but our own staff and build out as we're growing around the world. And so we have our own way of using it. And so one of the reasons, quite honestly, of doing this is to be able to learn ourselves. I think I realized, Cesar, that we failed to include Gloria Petersen in the giving her a link to be able to speak. And so I feel really bad, because I will say a lot of the driving force for this event has been Gloria. Gloria, a month or two ago, put together a small committee on what we should do, we Global Chamber should do on the marketing side of things. And she came up with a variety of ideas, including, let's teach members more about how to use LinkedIn more effectively. And so that certainly is one of the ideas. And our intent was to have her introduce the concept and introduce Amanda. So Gloria, if you're on.
Doug, we have Gloria now. She's able to speak.
Oh, wonderful. Sorry, Gloria, we messed up on that. I only realized it once we started going. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for being the driving force for this whole program.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to say is thank you, Doug, for taking a social media idea that I presented with the help of Allison Yeager and John Veach. So I totally didn't do this alone. I brainstormed with other members to see if it was viable, and we came up with this idea and we sent it to Doug. But what I want to say, Amanda, is I compare social media from my experience to treading water. I know what to do. I know how to stay afloat, and I'm doing all the right things. I'm putting all my energy there, which is time, but I don't know how to swim to success. And I think I'm doing everything right. So something's missing. And I'm thinking, if I'm going through this, certainly others are going through it too. We think we're doing all the right things, but something still isn't working right. So I am really looking forward to hearing you today, because social media, it's time consuming. Where do you put your energy? Certainly LinkedIn is priority, but there are others that pop, the Instagram, the Facebook. It's mind-boggling. The good news is we have Doug. It's happening today with LinkedIn. And why? Because Doug listens. If you present an idea to Doug and he feels it's viable for the chamber, he will make it happen. And I'm so grateful for my membership and for you, Doug, that you don't just see us as just spinning ideas and letting them just die off someplace. Eventually, it might take a year, but eventually they happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this one took significantly less than a year. And I think your point is really great, because all of us use LinkedIn, right? And so the key is, how do we use it better? And let's not tread water. Let's make progress. If you look at Amanda's LinkedIn profile, and you'll see it's Amanda Blair Davis. There's a lot of Amanda Davises, but there's probably very few, if any, other than the famous Amanda Blair Davis. And you'll see that she's got a great picture. She's got a great header. She's got a variety of components of LinkedIn, including very complete profile that, she's living the dream, if you will, in terms of how to set up your profile. I think she's also going to be sharing things, to your question, Gloria, around how do we now take it to the next level so that we can grow our business, which most of us want to do. So Amanda, thank you for taking the time yesterday. You were amazing. And I know you're going to be amazing today. Looking forward to learning something, and probably quite a few things today.
Thank you so much, both Gloria, Doug, Cesar, for having me. I'm going to quickly share my screen. So you guys just let me know if and when you can see everything.
Looks great.
Awesome. So, this really is a conversation about LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has a term for it. They call it social selling. And really what they mean by this is, what does your profile look like? How are you using the tool to maximize your presence on LinkedIn? So there are things that you can look up, like your LinkedIn social selling index. I'm not going to go too deep into that particular area today, but what they do is they analyze your connections as it relates to the industry you're trying to grow in, and things like that. And they kind of rate your profile in this index. Certainly, please do reach out to me, and at the end, I'll have my details. But first, I really want to start with the why, right? I mean, Gloria did a great job of kind of introducing why social and why we're getting into that place, but really why LinkedIn. LinkedIn since 2017 has topped the charts for B2B social media platforms in effectiveness, in every way. And as far as usage, in business, there are over 800 million global users, repeat users. So that does not count the one-offs every day. That's a massive, massive platform when it comes to business. So I really did want to share why I personally focus so much on LinkedIn, why I recommend those in the B2B space focus so much on LinkedIn. We got this question up front. What do you spend most of your time on? Should I be on all channels? If so, should I be posting different content? And it's a really complex thing. But ultimately, my answer is, where is your audience? My audience, I know exactly who my dream client is, right? I know they're a B2B business owner. They're pretty well established, but they need some help with marketing to get to the next level. So for me, being on LinkedIn is a no-brainer because I know that's where my audience is. My ideal owner, my ideal business owner is probably not doing a lot on Instagram. They're probably not, because if they need help with marketing, that's something that they probably don't understand. So I'm not going to spend my advertising dollars or things like that on a platform like Instagram. It's not where my audience is. So really, when choosing the social media platform that you're going to spend the most energy on, I really recommend taking a look at who your base is and who you're trying to go after. Find out where they are. A good way to find that out is using hashtags. And I'm going to go in completely in depth. So I'm going to try to go through these quickly so we can get to the good stuff. So why social selling? Why a presence on social media? Social is absolutely the new network over lunch, right? I remember the days when, you used to, oh, how do I get to know this person? And it was like a time of when your boss would, oh, we should go to lunch with this person and I'll make the intro. And, you'd go and you'd have a networking meeting over lunch. And to this day, that still happens, but more and more it's happening over social media. Those days, especially in a pandemic where, you're formerly networking in person, you're now networking on digital platforms and specifically on social media. So for business, that's why we're here on LinkedIn. It really is an extension of your ability to create and maintain relationships digitally. Some fundamentals: B2B buyers are 5 times more likely to engage with quote unquote sellers, that's business owners like yourselves, who are known industry thought leaders. How do you get there? Comment in group discussions, share important news related to your business or related to yourself. You are your brand. Ask clients for recommendations. Don't be shy. LinkedIn has that feature built in. Leverage existing marketing content. It's likely that as a business owner, you've got content that got you here. Leverage that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you want to post. Use it to your advantage. Leverage existing hashtags. You don't have to create your own hashtags. You don't have to create your own groups. Leverage what exists to get you somewhere. And finally, publish. You've got to post. I'm not going to tell you how often. That's really up to you, but you've got to be actively posting in the platform to use it to its full advantage. The most important thing is your profile. Your profile is going to help you make a good first impression. So Doug introed me at the top, and I would place a big bet on the fact that some of you went and looked me up on LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you how I designed my profile specifically to make a good impression. So Here's some of the big things, and I'm going to go super in depth in this. So don't worry, I'm purposely going fast here so that we can get to the live stuff. First and foremost, include a professional photo. So as people, we are taught to read. I'm kind of pointing my mouse, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're taught to read from the upper left over to the top right, down in this Z formation, down to the bottom left, and then finally over to the bottom right. LinkedIn took that natural action from us and used the design of their platform very purposefully. So please, please use this real estate. The top half of your profile is the single most important piece of real estate you've got. Professional photo, that is your first impression. Make sure it's a recent photo. So I went into depth in this in Clubhouse yesterday, but if you've lost a lot of weight, please consider updating your profile. If you have changed something dramatic about yourself, if you've gotten glasses, if you're a man and you've shaved your beard or grown a beard, please consider updating your professional photo to make sure that when you do meet someone or speak with someone virtually, you are instantly recognizable. I can guarantee you that from looking at my profile, if I walked in a room, you know exactly who I was. I might be a little shorter than you expect, but that's okay. You would know exactly who I am. Second is your tagline. Your tagline is your header. It's different from your current company, and I'm going to show you how they differentiate that. That is a very important piece of real estate where they allow you the space to tell people about you without actually telling people about you. That's really, really important. New function to LinkedIn, it's a couple years old now, but a lot of people still don't take advantage of it, is the media section. This should illustrate your story, include pieces about your business. If you have a video, put it there. If you have a flyer, that's a PDF, put it there. If you have really engaging imagery, put it there. That's the place to do it. And finally, your summary. This is a good place, again, in the top half of the page to put information to allow people to get to know you. Some people choose to go in depth. Some others, like myself, I choose to be pretty brief, but I'm very deliberate. I'm brief but deliberate. So I go very quickly about one thing that I'm really, really good at. So that's what I do. And then one thing that's a bit more personal about me. So I tell you who I am and what I do right up top. There is no right or wrong answer regarding length. Some people, like I said, like to do more expansive summaries. That's perfectly okay. Just know that the people that are looking at your profile are pulling information about who you are and what you do. Some other really quick tips and tricks, some do's and don'ts. I've tried to use a similar kind of company here. So you can see I've chosen Alliant Capital. That's one of my current clients. It was my previous full-time role. And just some quick do's, do include comments with your posts. There is real estate there to tell people about what you're talking about. And it's a shame. I see a lot of people who do not use this to their advantage. I see a lot of people just post something with no comment. In that, use tags and hashtags to expand your reach. So you can see in this example post, I've tagged Jennifer Erickson. What that means is now everybody in her network, regardless if they're following the company or regardless if they're connected to me, now everybody in her network can see that. That helps me expand my reach. I've also tagged the company in question, Novogradic. I've used housing and finance that are applicable to the industry that this event was in. So I've taken full advantage of the real estate. You can also see that I've incorporated pictures and videos to help with post performance. And you can see I've included the number of interactions there. We got 30 likes on a single post. At the time, I mean, we had started with 100 followers. At the time, I had used that to grow us to 69. This is 2 years later, we've got a new logo and we've got over 1,300 followers now. So this is a really good way to organically grow your reach. We didn't pay for any of this. Some quick don'ts. Do not leave these long links in your post. LinkedIn now will adjust them for cleanliness, but you can, when you post a link, I'm going to show you this. You can back the link out and it will actually stay in there. So usually when you post a link, something will pop up and it kind of shows you a picture or the actual post. You can back out some of that stuff to really clean up the real estate. So you can see from the left in the do's and the right on the don'ts, you can see how different that looks, right? It's much clearer to read. I was very distinct. I used the tags and hashtags in a sentence. And so it looks much cleaner when you take advantage of that real estate. And finally, another don't, really be careful about what you're posting. I do see quite a bit, some, like horoscope posts and things like that. So remember that your social presence is a reflection of you and the brand that you're representing. So in this instance, it's Alliant Capital. Posting something like horoscopes is not a reflection of the brand. But when in doubt, ask someone. I am here as a resource for you guys as Global Chamber members. And I'm going to tell you about a story. I first joined the Global Chamber when I was the head of marketing at International SOS. And at the time, we were providing risk management services and travel, global travel, health, and security services around the world. And we had a salesperson in the US at the time who said, hey, Amanda, he sent me a link to an article. I really would like to post this on my LinkedIn. What do you think? And I took a quick look and realized that while the post did execute a good example of why somebody would want to use our services, the company in question was actually now a client, and it really would not reflect well on them or their presence. And so with that just quick look, I was able to give guidance to that person and say, hey, probably not a good idea. It puts one of our clients in a bad light. So again, that would have been bad to share. It would have been bad for us. It would have been bad for him. So again, when in doubt, just ask. I know we only have a brief amount of time here today, but I'm so happy to spend time with you guys individually, or if you guys want to get together in other groups to help you with things like this so you have a good understanding. I'm going to go through some really fast tips, and then we're going to get to the good stuff. So first and foremost, connect with your colleagues and make sure you're attributing your position. We talked about this yesterday, to the correct company. I'm going to show you what that looks like in my profile so you can leverage the power of both networks. And I like to follow something called the ABCs. Always be connecting. Before you meet with somebody, after you meet with somebody, before a webinar, after a webinar, you can be sure that I'm going to connect with everybody here after this session. Always be connecting. It's vital for your business and for your presence. Second, research. Research the person that you're meeting with through LinkedIn and see what they like and comment on. Check out their activity. If they're interacting with their own business, you can see some of what their priorities are. And maybe you have a product or service that can be helpful for them in that. Connect with their peers so you can stay in their circle and see the content that they're consuming. When you see what they're consuming, you know what you can put in front of them that's going to matter to them. And finally, train others. So share what you're doing with others so they can learn from your success. That's what I'm doing here with you guys today. And as you guys get better, you'll be able to do that with your peers as well. Next, start small. I know this can be a really overwhelming process, but if you start simply by liking, sharing, and joining groups and just being active on your own account at least once a day, you can really make a difference in the algorithm that LinkedIn uses to promote your profile to others. You can start by engaging with content that already exists. Like I said earlier, you don't need to reinvent the wheel to make an impact. Second, follow target companies. So if you have a target business in mind that you're looking for, or a target client in mind, watch for their marketing materials, connect with that company, follow that company so that you can see press releases and other types of content from your target companies, as well as your competitors. I highly recommend being completely connected to everybody in the circle, and that does include your competitors. So you can keep an idea of what they're doing and maybe even get some ideas. Or sometimes it's affirmation that maybe you're more in the right direction than some other people in your space. And finally, look for openings. By connecting with people and following companies, you're able to pay attention to key moments for your leads and existing relationships. That could include job changes, promotions, news mentions, and more. So for example, maybe I'm in talks with somebody to represent their business. And everything's going great. I'm getting lots of feedback. We're in constant communication. And all of a sudden I stop hearing from them. I open up my LinkedIn and I see that they've changed roles. That's useful information for me because I know now they probably have a new email address that's not linked to their old business. I can connect with their new business and understand what they're doing. That's really, really important information for me. So really good to understand that the information that you're getting on your timeline and what they call a newsfeed is really, really important for you. Okay, so now I'm actually going to stop sharing. I'm going to reshare my live screen, and we're going to take a look at my actual profile. We're going to do this live. Doug, I know we've got a question in the chat. Do you want me to stop to, oh, that's you. Okay, awesome. I was going to stop to take a look at that. So here we go, sharing screen. I'm just going to do a quick check. Everybody can see my screen. Give me a thumbs up in the chat or the Q&A. Awesome. Q&A soon. Excellent. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see my screen. As you can see, this is my homepage. I'm going to go now into my profile to show you live some of the things that I've done on purpose. First and foremost, starting at the top, like I said, this stuff all in here, you can see my mouse. This is what we call above the fold. Above the fold means anything that you can see before having to scroll. So as soon as I have to scroll, that becomes underneath the fold or beneath the fold. Everything above the fold here is extremely important real estate. So like I said, when we're taught to read, we generally start up here, we move over here, and then naturally we kind of come down here. So they've done this on purpose. Your profile picture is the most important piece of real estate. Make sure you're easily recognizable. Then they've done this thing, this is pretty recent within the last 5 or 10 years, I'd say, where they allow you to change your header. So if you go into this little thing here, you can change that image. I 10 out of 10 recommend taking advantage of this real estate. In the first 2 seconds of looking at my profile, you know a lot about me. You know I can help you grow your business. You know my company name. You can see me and my profile. I've also taken advantage of some things here. Here is an opportunity for you to speak your name into a microphone and other people can hear how to correctly pronounce your name. So for those of us who are doing business globally, like many of us are, that becomes really important. You want to make sure that you're pronouncing someone's name right. And then I also have chosen to reflect the badge that I am a paying LinkedIn member. That's important for me. You can see my current role was with Hudson Davis Communications, and you can see that I went to the University of Southern California. Those are optional things that I have chosen. Again, I might be meeting with someone who sees that I went to USC and says, oh, I also went to USC. Immediately, we have something to connect on. And I'm doing that here with my header very, very intentionally. So I am the founder and chief idea officer at Hudson Davis Communications. Immediately, that tells you what I do. I've chosen my role very, very specifically. Chief idea officer is something unique, and it's something that people are going to ask me about. Now I'm telling you a bit about what I do. I'm a marketing expert. I'm a frequent business traveler. And now I'm giving you something personal. I'm a dog mama. I'm doing this on purpose to give you something to talk to me about. Maybe the person that I'm meeting with also really loves their dog. And now we have something to connect on. Immediately, that builds a rapport for us. And then finally, again, I've given you another thing to ask me questions about. I was so happy to be honored a few years ago in my last year of qualifying. So I'm now over 30, but I was accepted into the Forbes 30 Under 30 2018 fellowship. It was a great experience that now you guys can go, wow, what was that? Tell me about that. And now you have something to start the conversation with. And I've given you all of that information without actually talking to you. Okay, moving on to my about section. Again, I personally chose to keep it short and sweet, but I've given you a lot of information here. I develop visionary communications and marketing strategies while executing on tactical operations to drive ROI. Quick sentence that tells you a lot. And now I'm giving you more personal things. I'm a PR and social media expert, content junkie, proud millennial, and lover of all things pink and sparkly. From these 2 sentences, you get a sense of my personality, you get a sense of my tone of voice, and you get a sense that I am really confident in the work that I do. I have a dashboard. So this is not going to be public information, but you probably have your dashboard as well. This tells you how many people viewed your profile, how many people are viewing your post, how many times you appear in a search. And over here, I'm an all-star. So this is LinkedIn giving me feedback that I'm doing well with my profile. I've crafted profile, I've crafted information, my activity is useful. So again, your dashboard is really good information for you to use. And my activity, I've got 2,800 people following me. I've got a lot of activity that I'm interacting with. I'm going to get back into the activity in a bit, but we're going to continue scrolling. Now my experience. My experience is completely up to date. And you can see that in the first 3, I've given a lot of information. I tell you about my company because I'm the founder and chief idea officer. I'm telling you more about my company than I am about my role, because my role is pretty broad and diverse. I also made sure that I linked to the proper companies. So you can see Alliant Capital now looks pretty different, but I made sure that I linked my profile properly to their profile. This helps me use their reach to connect with people. Same thing, I was at International SOS, and now you can see that as I go further and further back, I'm giving you less information. I do that very explicitly. You want to make sure that the most relevant information is what you're giving a lot of information about. So if I look back, this was in 2016. Oh, that's starting to get 5-6 years ago, going back to 2013 and even more experience. That's a long time ago. And a lot of the things that I was doing then, we were doing a lot of print advertising, and maybe that's not as relevant nowadays. If it's really not relevant to what you're doing today, you can choose, and I'm not here to tell you what to do, but think about how much information you want to include. I know that very strongly the stuff that I've been doing since 2017 is very, very applicable to what I'm doing today. So that's what I've chosen to give the most information about. Now, that said, I'm going to say something with that as well. As I look at my education, I've made sure that my education is directly related to what I'm doing today. So for example, I mentioned this yesterday on Clubhouse. There was a few years ago, there was an Experian data breach, and it was a big, big deal, right? Hundreds of millions of people had their data breached, and people went into the Chief Information Security Officer profile on LinkedIn, and they scrolled down to her education, and she had 2 degrees in music, which was obviously, I'm very happy that she got a degree, and in particular, something that she probably enjoys, music. But it was very, very far from what she was doing. And she at the time got ripped apart by the press, and the confidence in that brand sank remarkably because the person that was supposed to be in charge of our data was educated in music, and that's all she was sharing. So at the time, she may have been well qualified and educated in things that were related to her current position, but they weren't on her profile. And that did a lot of damage. So really be careful about what you're posting and what you're doing. Now, as you can see, my licenses and certifications are also directly related to what I'm doing. I'm also certified in ITIL. That's a very IT heavy, in the time I was working as a marketer in the IT space. So at the time it was applicable, I'm making sure that that's not at the top, right? So that's probably not as applicable to what I'm doing today. So the most applicable stuff is before the stuff that's not as applicable to what I'm doing today. And again, I was not afraid to list my skills and ask for endorsements. I highly encourage you guys to do that. List your skills, ask for endorsements, give recommendations, ask for recommendations, and post your accomplishments. I think that, some people are a bit shy about not wanting to be too boastful. And I think it's really, really important to share with your network the things that you are proud of. So that's my profile in a nutshell. And I see that there's chat going on. Doug, do you want me to answer this question now, or do you want me to hang off?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Real time is good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Yvonne. I really appreciate that. You mentioned that we should post and that there's an advantage to doing that. What is the advantage? The advantage is with the algorithm. So the more that you post, LinkedIn naturally their algorithm goes, wow, okay, she's using the profile, she or he is using their profile, they're using our platform. And so yes, the algorithm points people to your profile more readily if you are liking, commenting, and otherwise interacting. You're correct. And the way it does that is up here through notifications. So the more you interact, you get notified. Your followers and connections get notified when you post something. So the more I interact, people get notified. Hey, Amanda Davis posted on this, or Amanda Davis said this and this and this. That helps. You know, one of the things that we do kind of naturally, if you're someone like me, is the first thing I want to do when I see a notification is I want to clear it. So if people are getting notifications and they go in to clear it and they see that you posted something, they're going to interact with you more. What content is most helpful? Absolutely, visual content is most impactful. It by far and away gets the most interaction. So posting videos, you can do a live video. LinkedIn allows you to do that now. Share a YouTube video, that's absolutely fine. But also sharing pictures does the same thing. So I by far and away get the most interaction on important job changes, which again, please follow the people that you're connected to so you can see and comment on their important job changes, as well as my video content and my visual content. We're becoming more and more visual people. And so that is absolutely the most important information. Okay. So now I'm going to go into a couple things. I want to show you how to join groups. So I'm just going to go into global business because I think that that's probably pretty applicable to what we're all doing here today. So if I just search global business, it gives me a lot of information, right? So it gives me a lot of people that I might want to connect with. And I'm actually going to show you some tips and tricks there. So stay tuned because I think that's my biggest trick that I'm going to show you today. It gives me some jobs, which as business owners, we might not be applicable in, but you might be able to see, you know, in particular, if you're looking to interact with big companies, you might see that maybe they're posting a job that might be relevant for some of your connections, or it's just good information for you to have, I think. Here are our groups. So as you can see for us, the Global Business Travel Association, it's going to start with the groups that you're already a part of. So those are going to come up here, and then you can scroll down and join additional groups. 10 out of 10 recommend joining groups. There's no hard and fast rule about posting in groups and different things like that. I would say, you know, as much as you're comfortable, I know it can be really overwhelming, but joining groups does allow that information to be shown in your home feed. So if I go here, group information that I join is going to show here, right? So it shows in the things that I'm most likely to see, and that can be really helpful for people. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is hashtags. I'm just going to take a quick survey of the folks that are on the call. And I think maybe you guys don't have the ability to speak. So maybe just pop in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, raise your hand or show, I think it's called a reaction. Are you guys familiar with hashtags at all, or like what they are or what they do? Silent group. Okay, so I'm going to just go back to basics a little bit. I like to think of hashtags as a big giant, what are those things that you, I don't know what they're called anymore, that you hold file folders in. They're like those big armoires almost that you hold files in. I like to think of them that way. So for example, yes, a file cabinet. File cabinet. Hashtags are like a big giant file cabinet, and it's a big giant file cabinet to all the things that are being talked about on the internet, in particular on LinkedIn. So for example, if I'm an HR professional, I'm in my file cabinet, I might put all of the things about resumes in one folder. And then I might, you know, if I had the habit of printing out my emails, I might put them all together in another folder. And hashtags do the same thing. So if I look up global business, if I could type it right, this is all the stuff. Doug, well done. You're at the top even from 2 weeks ago, of the global business hashtag. So this is all the stuff that's being talked about under global business, hashtag global business. I might try global networking. And again, so you can see this is actually a pretty small hashtag, 60 followers. So I might want to follow this. Good rule of thumb for a big topic that's being talked about on different platforms, like on Instagram and Twitter, big interaction would be like 1 million followers or more. On a platform like LinkedIn, it really does get into the like 1,000, 10,000 or more. So this, in my opinion, I might not take the effort to follow, simply because at this point I would only be reaching 60 people, and I probably wanted something more than that. So maybe I'll just look at global. Okay, so a bit, maybe a bit too broad. So let's maybe try business. Okay, again, probably a little too broad. So play around with hashtags. You know, in my business, I am in marketing. So here we go, business, 3.6 million followers. Okay, so I know that if I wanted to reach people and I'm talking about my business, I definitely want to include the business hashtag. There's 3.6 million people that I don't know that are talking about it. I definitely want to be following this hashtag. So these are good gauges for you to understand what you can be interacting with. For me, I'm in marketing. So again, as you can see, oh, maybe I won't do that. Interesting that it shows you certain things and other not. Very interesting. I'll have to figure that out. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys a live trick. And this is really important for interaction. So if there's some person that really does want to volunteer to interact, please, when I ask the question, put it in the chat. We'll definitely do this personal to you guys. Is there somebody?
Gloria, would you be open to that? Oh, are you there? Gloria?
I had to unmute. Sorry, I was muted.
Would you be open to being the volunteer?
Sure. What do you want me to do?
Okay.
Excellent. Gloria, please give me a big business, the name of a big business that you might be targeting or wanting to partner with or want to incorporate into your world.
Okay. Into the chat or just verbally
Nope.
tell you?
You can verbally tell me.
Okay. How about protocol training?
Protocol training.
Mm-hmm.
This company here, Education Management.
Yeah,
Or is it this one?
Let's see that.
This
Right.
one.
Corporate training and finishing school. Oh, that's a bank. Okay.
Is this not the right one?
How about Protocol School of Washington? It would be
Protocol School of Washington.
There you go.
Okay. So let's try a little bit bigger because they have 36 employees on LinkedIn. So I really want to kind of show you the power of this. But if I were you, Gloria, I would absolutely click follow and I would be completely up to date on what they're doing. Let's go a little bit bigger.
Oh, you want me to offer you another one? That would be in my industry.
Yep.
Association of Image, wait a minute, let me think. AICI. They would go by initials. AICI. There you go.
Okay, so bigger, 87 employees on LinkedIn. We'll do another example after this of something that's pretty big. So for example, like one of my dream clients might have several hundred or several thousand employees. It can be pretty time consuming to understand who you should connect with. So, even searching through 87 employees on LinkedIn is going to be really, really, really time consuming, right? So I've got to search through all these people. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a hack. Up here on the upper right, I'm going to go into all filters. And first, I just want to see if there's anybody in my first and second degree connections. There's not. Okay. So for you though, Gloria, there might be. So I'm going to just expand it into first, second, and third degree connections. Okay, so now I get back to everybody. So I have, of now the 80 something people, I now have 77 people. That's narrowed it down quite a little bit. I'm going to go back into my filters. Do you care, Gloria, what location they're in?
We'll just stick with US for now.
Okay. And you want to make sure that you go all the way down, all the way down into title. What is the dream title? And you can give me a handful of somebody that you would want to connect with at AICI.
Okay, then image coaches. Image coach.
Okay, so this is really important. So hopefully you guys can see this. I've typed in image, and now I'm going to do capital or coach, or what else? Has to be capital. Don't forget that. And any other keywords that might be in their title?
Okay, etiquette, protocol.
Awesome. Okay, that gives us a good starting point. And now I'm going to show results. So now from the 80 people that we would have had to sort through, you've got 7 people who have etiquette or image consultants in their profile. Now you've got a manageable group of people that you can connect with that'll be applicable to your business. I see something in the chat, recommendations on building and maintaining the relationships once connected. Absolutely. First recommendation is do include a personalized note. So for example, if I was going to maybe connect with Jane here, who's the owner, and I wanted to connect with her, I'm not going to actually do it, but I would absolutely 100% add a note. This is your spot. And so that 100%. Recommendations on building that relationship once connected, interact. Definitely interact. So if they post something, like it, comment it, even just a like truly does go a long way. So simply interacting is a good place to start. Does anybody have another big company that they might want to do live here? I mean, I've got you guys for another 15 minutes, and we do want to leave time for questions, but this is your opportunity to maybe see something that's applicable to you.
How about Tesla? That's a big one.
Yep, super big. Okay, awesome. So Doug, for you, 10 out of 10, you can see I'm following Tesla. There's 42,000 employees. Doug, if this was a key prospect of yours, I would absolutely be following. And it gives you a lot of information here. So you can see recently posted videos. They're looking for a design leader in China. So maybe if I, knew somebody that was really good at design that was based in China, that would be good information. They're giving me people highlights. So people are in my area, and 162 people also attended the same school. So these pages give you a lot of information. And I can see, they're doing these things that I'm recommending. They're using videos, they're putting images in. So they're really using their profile to their advantage, but I digress. 42,000 employees across the globe is a very monumental task to look for people that I might connect with. Now, immediately when I connect into the employees, these are the people they're showing me that are most applicable to me. So I am actually a second degree connection with Lajay, and he's actually the global strategist, learning officer, and head of corporate social responsibility, that's something that I'm deeply involved in. So I'm actually going to follow him because he's important for me. And then again, Steve, he's in travel management. That's the world that I was in. And so I've got 17 shared connections. Tesla is actually a customer of International SOS where I used to work. So if I was really interested in connecting with Steve, I would definitely connect. And I might ask any of these people who I am connected with to make an intro for me. That's a really good piece of information. But hypothetically, let's do that again. So I just want to see who might be in my first and second degree. So remember, we started with over 40,000 employees. All right, now we're down just by eliminating my third degree connections. So people who aren't first or second degrees, I am now down to 66 people that might be good for me to connect with. And again, if you're searching for customers and you're unsure about who the best person at the company is for you to reach out to, this is a great way to narrow that down. So now I've got a much more manageable list, but even 66 people is a little high for me. So Doug, we want to make sure, and well, maybe we don't need them to be in the United States, but let's go to title. What kind of title would be most applicable for you?
A director.
Okay, or
vice, I don't think they have vice president, but maybe president in there.
And maybe something about the job that they do. Is there a specific, like global, or is there a specific keyword that might be in their title that would help you?
Probably global. Yep, no question. Yep.
Okay, so let's give that a try. And remember, this or has to be capitalized, otherwise it doesn't work. And I'm going to show those results. Okay, so now we've gone from 40,000 to 68 to 7 people. So you've got the director of security, global EHS director, manager of information security and global investigations, travel management. So 7 people is a lot easier to navigate. And Doug, you are actually directly connected. So now I've got second degree connections and you've got first degree connections and second degree connections that make it much easier for you to turn this from a prospect into a warm conversation that you're having and a warm connection that now can, directly become somebody that could be important in your network. Hopefully that's really, really helpful to everybody here on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very helpful. Thank you. I didn't know about that, all that other area there at the bottom that allows you to put in the information and the ORs. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a function that comes, you can do that directly in their Sales Navigator program. But I know a lot of us who don't work in sales and media, we're just a business owner. We don't have Sales Navigator. So that's a way in the regular platform. I do have a paid subscription, but you can do that in the regular platform to get more information without having to be in Sales Navigator. Gloria, you mentioned Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's try that. Toyota. 28,000 employees. That's pretty difficult to navigate. So Gloria, if I'm you, I definitely want to follow. It also tells me that there are 24 people from my school. Maybe I know one of them. That could be interesting information. But I definitely want to take a look at their 28,000 employees. Okay. So again, first and foremost, I want to just see if I can narrow it down to my first and second degree connections. Whoopsie. Okay, so from 20,000, I'm now in 15 people. That is pretty incredible. And they're all within my first and second degree. So, I know these people down here and I can absolutely ask Daryl for the intro if I needed to, or Miriam, I can absolutely ask for the intro. And so for you, Gloria, I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna include my third degree because my market is a little bit different, right? So for me, they're going to show me marketing people. So I'm just going to go into third degree as well. And you said training or trainer or
protocol and etiquette.
Or orientations.
Okay, so let's see. All right, so now I've got 152 people who are trainers. You've got Phyllis, who's the training manager. So if I wanted to narrow this down, I might just take out my third degree. Nope, okay, that's too narrow. But for you, Gloria, that might look different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't know about this. This is great, but I have the basic LinkedIn. Do I need to advance to the paid version to
nope,
get this filter part?
nope.
No, it's there.
And
Okay, this is
yep,
great. Oh, I
and
know
you can
Karen.
see
Karen's one of my clients.
excellent. See, so
I trained her.
excellent, excellent. And actually, Galen Davis is my mom. So if I wanted to
Really?
connect with her, yeah, I could ask my mom for the connection. So this is
Yeah.
great information. These LinkedIn members, they're showing because they've chosen to hide their profile. So whether or
Okay.
not you're in the paid version or not,
Okay.
but Phyllis might be important for you. So this is really, really helpful, I think.
Yeah, this is helpful too, because Toyota is a past client of mine. I worked with them for a lot of years. They moved from Torrance, California to Plano, Texas. And in that move, I lost contact with a lot of people because some went with them and some did not. So this is a great way to find out who stayed now. I see Karen did stay with them.
Yeah,
in
excellent,
that
excellent.
move, in that transition.
Amanda,
So, yes.
Gloria sort of brought up the issue of the paid version. Now, when should somebody be thinking about doing the pay part?
So I think it's 100% worth it. It's $29.99 a month. I think you can consider it, certainly if you're wanting to expand your reach. It definitely puts your profile at the top of the list of people. So it will favor you. The LinkedIn algorithm will favor you. Certainly if you are looking to post jobs or you yourself are hiring for your business, certainly I think worth it because it gives you more information about the candidates. So it really just depends on the situation you're in. I think for $29.99 a month, it's absolutely worth it. It favors me to other people. It gives me more insight to stuff like this. So these LinkedIn members, because I have the paid version, I know that these people are hiding their profile and they're choosing not to be public. But if I didn't have the paid version, more of these people might be blocked out. So like Connie, for example, I might not be able to see exactly who she is. So it does give you more visibility, but you certainly don't need it to get max functionality out of LinkedIn.
You can also reach out to them directly, right? You don't have a connection. I think the paid version gives you what, 3 or 10 a month or something like that. Where
Yep.
if you don't have that, can you do that? Maybe not. I'm not sure.
It allows you less, but
Okay.
it does give you more flexibility when you do have the paid version when it comes to connecting with people that you don't already know or that aren't within your network.
Super.
So with that, I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and bring back the PowerPoint. As I just do want to just land on a few key things. And so really the key takeaways for you guys, follow those ABCs. Always be connecting. That is by far and away the most important thing that you can do on LinkedIn. Second, when in doubt, ask. You have resources like Doug, you've got resources like me. If you have a question, absolutely ask for guidance. There is no shame in that. And you are 100% surrounded by people who are willing to support you. Next, keep your profile up to date. So like I said, profile picture, job, descriptions. When you develop new materials or new media, include that in your profile. And then finally, share, engage. So engaging, liking, commenting, talk to people. If you have something to say, share it. I wouldn't worry too much. Some people say, oh my gosh, I have to post once a day. It's not as scary as you might think. I think, if a couple days go by and you're not sharing, it's okay. But when you do have something to say, be sure that you share it with your network. So that's it for me. I'm gonna leave this. Doug, are you okay if I leave this on the screen so that people can connect with me if they'd like to?
Sure. Beautiful.
Okay, and maybe we'll just open up to questions for the last few minutes.
So, Gloria, if you have any questions or anybody in the audience, please
Sure.
type them in while we're. Oh, you have one. Go ahead, please.
I have one that might be on the minds of everybody else listening. It's called time management. I mean, you can really spend a lot of time. So how do you time manage yourself as it relates to utilizing LinkedIn or some of the other social media, so that you're not spending your entire day and then realizing, oh my gosh, I didn't get these other tasks done because I was doing this. It's like a juggling act between the two.
It is. You know, there are certainly things you can do. I would say, you know, an hour a day is more than enough.
Really?
Social media is very intuitive. There are obviously also companies like mine that can help you, and there are ways to automate it, like buffering. There's a company called Buffer where you can automate it. But really, you know, an hour a day, I think, is more than enough, especially if you're just getting started. Now, for me, you know, I'm not going to lie, I tend to have my LinkedIn up almost all day, and I'm intermittently checking on it, you know, throughout the day when I
Yeah.
have a quick break. And you know, so really, I would say time management is really a personal thing from person to person. But if you find that you're spending a lot of time on it and you're not getting anywhere, be very deliberate. So, okay, in the morning, I'm going to go on and I'm going to interact in a group, and I'm just going to, you know, find one of the groups, or I'm going to find a hashtag and I'm going to interact on that hashtag, or oh, something's really important happening today, I'm going to go in quickly and post it. So really prioritize by action, and less about, you know, scrolling, right? If you find yourself scrolling and trying to find something to interact with, you know, I think you can put it aside for the time being and focus on something else.
Yeah, I think another challenge is the instant messaging. I mean, we're getting
Mhm.
emails, we're getting instant messaging from all the social platforms. And there have been times when I've gone into LinkedIn, like, oh my gosh, I didn't see this little thing up here that tells me there's an instant message. When I look at it, it's like several weeks old, and I missed
Mhm.
it, overlooked it.
Mhm.
So it's just like, what kind of discipline do you use to make sure with all your social medias, especially LinkedIn, you're staying on top of all the instant messaging too?
Yeah, I mean, a good tip is to really go in and make sure that your notifications are turned on. And if you are somebody who knows that you naturally ignore push notifications, turn on other ways to get notified, like email or SMS. I am personally like very interactive with my push notifications. My my husband is the opposite. He will leave a push notification with the number on until the cows come home, and I need to clear them as soon as I see them. So I know that by turning my push notifications on, when something happens, I'm going to be notified of it, and I'm gonna go in and interact with it.
Amanda and Gloria, I think I'd like to go just a few minutes over because there are a couple additional questions, and I'd like to follow up on Gloria, your starting point where you said, you know, how do we go from treading water to making progress? And so for you, what would be progress, and why do you feel like you're treading water? What are some of the things you'd like to accomplish? Are you looking for clients, or, you know, how are you measuring success? And let's circle back with Amanda on how specifically we can help you there.
Okay, well, first of all, I did not know about the filters that I could use that and really target and tighten up and go right into like a company like Toyota, which I've lost contact with due to their move, and who went with them or not. I know how to find them now. I've got, excuse me, almost 5,000 followers that I've been building over the last 10 years. And I do have interactions, but nothing um, substantial comes in the way of, okay, now we've got some business going on here.
Okay,
Certainly
so
the
you're
pandemic
looking for
changed that
business.
too.
You're measuring success by how many clients do I get out?
Well, how they contacted me, allow me to submit a proposal.
Sure.
And so I get my foot in the door by getting them interested in getting a proposal from me, learning about the kind of training I offer, and then we have that dialogue going back and forth. I have a
Okay.
hard time getting to that point anymore.
Okay.
Sure.
And so the filter sounds like it'll be a help. And
It's
then
going to be. Mhm.
I would imagine, Amanda, the other part of that is, in addition to being able to contact the people, the way you contact the person becomes important
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, using the filters to find that person and connecting with them. Send them a personal note. Hey, I see you've got some connections in common, or I'd be really interested in connecting with you and being a part of your network. And then when they connect with you, post about things. So post about the types of things that you offer, interact with them. And then perhaps I'm going to actually go back. I'm going to stop this and go back into my my live profile. So let me exit this. I'm going to go back into my live profile and share. Okay. So if I, let's say, was looking to get in touch with Jane, I've connected with her, I've sent her a personal note, I might get into her contact info. And sometimes you could go to the website, they'll have an email address. So use that as the ability to take it kind of offline, right? And get into their inbox as well. So if I go into the website and now I'm in contact, now I can get into an email. So that's a good way to maybe send over a proposal. I would avoid doing that on LinkedIn, like in the messenger, in particular, because we are getting bombarded nowadays with those spammy messages. So I would avoid that. But if you can kind of find a way, like I've had people since yesterday and now today, I've got people in my inbox that came and just said, hey, would love to connect with you one-on-one next week. Great. My next thing to them is awesome. What's a day and time? I'll send you an invite. So you're kind of taking it off the platform. That would be my next step for you.
Oh, I think I got $1 million idea from you from this already. Something that just didn't occur to me. I mean, the filter and getting into the trainers and going direct, because I'm looking at all my 5,000 people thinking, okay, which one of you is a trainer? Which one of you is this? I didn't know about the filters. Isn't that, I mean, it's like, duh, why didn't I know? I should have known.
Don't feel like that. Don't feel like that. Again,
like, that's the treading water. That's your treading water. I'm treading because I'm not knowing how to tighten up.
And again, like the fact that you brought this in and you brought this to somebody, you're asking questions, you're trying to find the information. Those are the exact right things. So a lot of times we're really hard on ourselves. These are the things. Ask the questions, ask for the trainings, get connected. Now you're connected to me. I'll help you anytime, Gloria. And that goes for anybody on the webinar. That's the beauty of your membership with the Global Chamber. So you do have resources, and definitely take Gloria as an example. Ask the questions and ask for the help, because you are an expert in what you're an expert in. I take it that it's training and consulting. And so focus on that. Be the best at what you're the best at and ask for the help. This happens to be, something that I spend a lot of my time on and something that I've developed an expertise in. So I'm here to help.
Oh, Doug, this is perfect for me. This is absolutely perfect.
Excellent. I'm so glad that I could provide value to you guys today.
So that's the outreach that Gloria can do. And then on the flip side, to be found, having hashtags for certain things will make sense, right? Because some of these people might accidentally and could very well accidentally stumble on Gloria because she used a hashtag that they were looking for.
Yep. Training, learning, those types of things. Use them when you comment within the posts that you're sharing. Absolutely, Doug.
Protocol, etiquette, almost every Global Chamber post has trade and export, but what I have a personal problem with the word networking, and somebody told me recently that was a wrong thing to have a personal problem with, because most people are looking for networking. So
agreed.
So you better change that. So it's like, okay, well, so now we've started adding. And you used one there, global networking. We've never used that hashtag, but
really?
Even though it's only 60 people, that seems like one we should be using, right? And so Gloria probably has similar ones, right? Like, who would one of her targets be? What hashtag would they be clicking on? She needs to think about that, just like we need to think about how would they find Global Chamber to keep people. And
well, the important thing is, though, that now Gloria feels like she doesn't have to invent that, because she might be thinking, oh, do I have to start a hashtag? And now she can go in and find that there's already millions of people all over the world talking about what she wants to talk about. You don't need to invent that. That takes a lot of the pressure off.
And I don't have a problem posting blogs. I've got tons of blogs up. you know, a lot of those. So, but I didn't know how to tighten up my reach. So that was
Yeah, and
valuable.
be sure that when you're using the blog feature on LinkedIn, they do this on purpose. You'll get very little interaction from your blog. Be sure to reshare it on your personal profile as a post. Put it on your website and then reshare that link from you as a personal post. You'll get much more engagement.
Okay. I
So
do
that was one
that.
of the
Now that I
learnings.
do.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
You mentioned that yesterday, that the blog feature within LinkedIn doesn't get the same traction and gets less traction than having a blog somewhere else and then posting that link.
Yes.
I do that. So I got
Excellent.
one.
Super. Well, very good. Well,
Yeah.
Gloria, thank you for
you.
pulling this all together. Amanda, amazing. Really great
Thank
information.
you.
Thank
And
you.
those of you in the audience, please feel free to reach out directly to Amanda or to any of us, because we're here to help. You'll definitely, connect up with everybody, and
ABCs.
ABC, right? Although
Always
one
be connecting.
question actually I meant to ask you is, probably you as well get like people who are working for web companies in India, and people with incomplete profiles, and people without pictures, and just stuff in their profile that looks a little bit sketchy. I presume that there is a filtering process we should be using to eliminate some of those and not be connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Use your discretion. I definitely believe that everybody on this call has that discretion. And I will remind you, to that vein, or to expand on that, what your profile doesn't say also says a lot about you, right? So if you have an incomplete profile, that's being noticed. If you don't have a picture of yourself, that's being noticed. So the things that you leave out of your profile say a lot about you as well.
Yeah, I agree. And when you look at your profile, it's clear that you pay attention to detail. You're active. Sometimes when you see an inactive profile or one that's not very complete, you wonder if they're still involved with business, right? If they're really
Yeah.
serious. Or at least that's the way I look at them. It's like, well, are you even serious? Are you like taking this seriously? If you haven't paid attention to your LinkedIn profile, I really question whether they are. Even though they just, for whatever reason have chosen not to do it. There's actually an Arizona politician that I found out on the news last night. He's involved in something crazy here in Arizona. And I thought, oh my God, he's nuts. So I go to his link. I knew I was connected to him in LinkedIn, and sure enough, he's in LinkedIn, and then we're first connections, but he hasn't used the profile. Like the last post he had was like 5 years ago. So I was actually starting to write him a nasty note. And the first thing said, you know what, if you can't say anything positive, don't say anything. So I started to erase it already. And then I thought, well, 5 years, he's probably not even going to read it anyway. So I'm just going to leave this. I'm going to just namaste at this point. Good luck, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, design your profile with purpose. There are a lot of things that you can take advantage of. They give you a lot of really good real estate to work with, as far as where they put things on your profile. So design your profile with purpose.
Thank you.
And stay connected, and add connections, and have activity. The activity, as you've pointed out, is so important, whether it's just even liking and sharing and making a comment or two. How do you handle birthdays, by the way? Because there are sometimes like slugs of birthdays. Do you respond to some of those, especially for people
I do. And LinkedIn is getting really good at that. They will give you the ability to press a button and it gives you the response, right? So they're trying to help with the volume of things that you might get. I do. I got quite a few messages when I updated my job, right? Because I went from working for somebody else to now opening my own firm. And so I got a lot of people saying, wow, congratulations, Amanda. And I took the time and I responded to each and every one of them, because it is a reflection of me. And even if I didn't know them all that well, or they were a third degree connection, I took the time to respond to them because that's a reflection of me.
Okay. Are there there are several different key metrics probably that you look at. One of them for me is the number of people that have looked at the profile in the last 90 days. My sensibility is, I'm trying to keep that relatively high and consistent. Or do you look at that? And are there other things that you look at to make sure that, you're treading water, but you're also making progress?
I really don't focus on those, to be quite honest,
Okay.
because my interactions are always authentic. And so if that dips a little bit, that's completely fine. Obviously when I changed jobs, that skyrocketed,
Yep.
but I don't put the pressure on myself to keep that up. I know that I go in there every day. I know that I'm interacting with the people. So, by following the basics, that will kind of happen naturally. So I wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself. Now, if that's something that you love, Doug, and that's a metric for you that you're really passionate about, by all means. But for me personally, I know that when I do it naturally and I'm, interacting and I'm consuming the things that I need to consume, and I'm a part of the groups that I know are helpful for me, to me, that gives me kind of the stability across the board. It does sometimes go like this, but overall, it's kind of like the stock market. Overall, you're going to end up ahead.
It for me, it's helped try to guide like what time of day do you post, right? So I've noticed, for instance, Sundays are horrendous.
Agreed.
And later in the day is worse than earlier in the day, that it better post. So, I mean, at least that's my guessing, or at least my own experience. I don't know if it's true or not, but just in general, those are some of the things I've picked up by you looking at that data.
Yeah.
So you probably have your own kind of rules of when and what. You talked a little bit about what, but when you do it and how often you do it probably is also, you've got some general guidelines.
Yep. LinkedIn, we have to remember, is a professional network. So other social media networks are very, very active on the weekends. Our work days tend to stop on the weekend, right? So for the most part, your engagement is going to go way down on the weekends. So I would keep that in mind. Also, do remember, though, that people tend to take their lunch breaks around 12 or 1, and that's a really good time for engagement. So for us on the West Coast, that means 9 a.m. And then again at around, 3 o'clock-ish, that's when people are maybe going home for the day, or, in the old world. So I tend to keep East Coast hours in mind. So for example, when I'm publishing a press release, I always do it on East Coast time. That means that the social posts that are related go up on East Coast time. So, I keep in mind, I'm an early riser anyway, that I tend to post first thing in the morning, my time, because I'm on the West Coast.
Amanda, one more thing I want to comment on, and Doug might want to chime in on it too. I'll get into a ritual when I'm posting every morning. I get the rituals going, and I find it amazing that I will post or put into the feed so what I consider great information, okay? Business stuff, all right? Well, a couple weeks ago, my 93-year-old dad and I were coming down the mountain, and we had a flat, and a semi pulled over and helped us out. So I thought, why not? I posted it. I got almost 500 likes on that. And it's like, I'm struggling to get 50 on these really information-based posts that have to do with my business and my livelihood. But I post something like a flat tire with a 93-year-old dad and 2 young men who didn't have to stop it. And it just went. So
Yeah.
what you're feeling on the personal, something personal weaved into your business posts.
Absolutely. And you'll see, remember, I structured my profile with purpose, right? So I included personal things in my profile as well. People love that. And, it's interesting. It's about the 80-20 rule as well. The majority of my interaction absolutely comes from my personal profile. People pay much less attention to my business profile.
Interesting.
So yeah, you are your brand. People are interested in you. So I would say, find a balance, find what you're comfortable with. People in business love to be uplifted. So an uplifting story like that is going to do really well. Doug saw I posted something about I work in the same 4 walls these days. And so I started working downstairs to get a little bit of a different view. And we had a squirrel that climbed right up to the window. And I said, I wonder if he's interested in marketing. And I got a ton of interaction on that. People like that, right? They want to know about you. They want to know about your life. So I think that aligns, and that kind of reaffirms why I'm a bit personal in my profile as well.
So it's good.
Yes.
Be personal.
But don't be so personal. I know it's tricky, but don't be so personal that you're posting about horoscopes. Yeah. Like, remember my do's and don'ts.
Yeah, and no religion, no politics, no negativity,
Always.
all of that stuff is best, vented, in some other
On Twitter.
venue.
Yeah, on Twitter. No, absolutely, absolutely. Remember, the things that you post are a reflection of your brand.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry we went a little bit over, but thank you. And thank you for allowing us to go a little bit over. Really great information, great starting point. And hopefully this has been really helpful for everyone. We're going to post, I've been making notes, so we're going to post a blog on this. Speaking of blogs, that we can post in LinkedIn, I guess eventually, with the video. So we're going to have the recording as well, so that more members are able to benefit from this, and word gets more out about. Actually, it will end up being, about both of you, so more people will find out about both Amanda's and Gloria's business. So thank you both for your leadership on this and on all the great information. And I would say let's wrap it up and have a great rest of your day and weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.